Part 37. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 361. Chapter 361 The Senior's Reasons for Leaving in the First Place 5. Chapter 361 The Senior's Reasons for Leaving in the First Place 5. Tian seemed to leave in a relaxed manner, but in fact she was still very entangled and sad inside. After all, it was a 2-year relationship, so you can't just let it go. She couldn't remain indifferent to the confession of someone she once liked. After all, people are animals with feelings. But she also knew very well that it was impossible for them. Even if she had not become husband and wife with Tang Yuge, her little heart had gradually transferred to him. As for the senior, he also has a fiancée. She doesn't know why he is engaged to someone else when he clearly loves her. He made a choice when they were engaged, so why would he continue to pester her now? Tian went out to take a taxi, but before she could stop a taxi, a Lincoln limousine stopped in front of her. A stunning beauty stepped out of the car. The beauty was about the same age as Tian. She had a pair of gentle, watery eyes under her curved willow leaf eyebrows. She was a Jiangnan beauty who could exude gentleness. Hold an umbrella in her hand, she walked up to her and looked at her with a smile. "Hello, Miss Jian." The beautiful woman even speaks with a sweet voice, which makes people inexplicably like her. "Who are you?" Tian was sure that she didn't know the person in front of her, but the other person knew her. "My surname is An, my name is Fanner, and I am Su Warong's fiancé." And Fanner smiled slightly, was gentle and skillful, behaved generously and was dignified and beautiful. She was definitely the wife that many men wanted to marry. The An Fanner in front of her was very outstanding, and she did not make people feel distant. Her brief words clearly explained her identity. Su Warong's fiancé. It was because of this woman that Su Warong left her. She was not surprised to lose to such a woman. The Jiangnan beauty smiled slightly and invited her sideways. "I would like to ask you to take a moment to say a few words." Tian probably guessed why she was looking for him. Su Warong who left just now was her reason, and they could only be involved because of Su Warong. She did not refuse and stepped into the car. And Fanner put away her small umbrella gracefully, walked into the Lincoln limousine, and sat opposite her. The two sat opposite each other, not speaking, and observing each other with their eyes. "What are you looking for me?" "If you look for the senior, he may still be at the gate of the community, or he may have gone back." Tian was the first to break the deadlock and spoke first. And Fanner shook his head gently and said with a smile, "I'm here to find you this time, and I want to tell you something." Tian raised his eyes slightly, his beautiful peach blossom eyes looking at her, thinking about her purpose. And Fanner's fiancée went to confess his love to other women. As his fiancée, was she here to tear her apart? Judging from her elegant manners, she doesn't want to be that kind of person. Then what is her purpose? Isn't it just that she wants to see her fiancé's previous ambiguous partner? Still here to show off her identity at the moment, no matter which one it is. I'm afraid she will be disappointed. Tian raised her head and raised her chest, her momentum could not be lost. And Fanner covered her mouth and smiled slightly, raising her eyes slightly to look at her. "You are more beautiful than I imagined. No wonder Brother Rong can't let you go." "That's a compliment. You're very beautiful too. Please tell me your final goal." "I'm going to meet my husband later." And Fanner's smile still hung on her face, her head turned slightly toward the community, and she spoke softly. "I just want to be the peacemaker between you and Brother Rong. You don't need to be afraid of me." End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 362. Chapter 362 The Senior's Reasons for Leaving in the First Place 6. Chapter 362 The Senior's Reasons for Leaving in the First Place 6. Ha! Peacemaker. Qian Yuman's eyes changed slightly when she looked at Enfanur. This woman spoke very frankly, saying that she was the peacemaker between him and Su Warong. Enfanur slightly adjusted her wrinkled skirt, with a hint of sadness in her eyes. To say that he is the peacemaker between you and Brother Rong is an exaggeration. I just want to be a middleman and convey to you what Brother Rong cannot say. I really can't bear to see him in such pain. Qian Yuman raised her eyebrows slightly. It seemed that Su Warong's fiancée was as kind and gentle as her appearance. She should not be the woman she had pledged her sovereignty to. Brother Rong and I both come from military and political families, and both have high and powerful positions in our country, so we have known each other since we were children. It turns out that Su's father had always hoped that Su Warong could follow his path and embark on a political path of supporting the president and serving the country and the people. Unfortunately, Su Warong always wanted to be a police officer, and did not want to follow Su's father's path as a politician, so he went abroad to join Interpol a few years ago, and even obtained a master's degree in law before he could better understand the laws of various countries. Su's father has always been aware of Qian Yuman's existence and has never thought of breaking them up. However, not long ago, Su's father was investigated by his superiors because he was framed. The politicians who assisted him stayed away, fearing that they would be burned. Enfanur's father has always liked Su Warong, and he believed in Su's father's character, so he proposed a marriage between the two families so that they could support each other and fight against the villain together. Su Warong left in a hurry because the matter was serious. When he left, he didn't even know that there was no connection between him and Qian Yuman this time. After returning to China, he was told that he would marry Enfanur. He had refused at first and even had a quarrel with Su's father for a while. But later, when he learned about Su's father's situation, Su Warong couldn't bear it, so he had to temporarily agree to get engaged to Enfanur. Su Warong told Enfanur on the day of their engagement that the person he liked was Qian Yuman. This engagement was just a temporary measure. After the relationship between the two families stabilized, he would terminate the engagement with Enfanur. I just didn't expect that something would happen to Qian Yuman during this period and she would marry someone else. Su Warong has been in pain since he found out and became more and more haggard day by day. Knowing his personality, Enfanur would definitely not reveal the inside story to Qian Yuman, so she found Qian Yuman and explained clearly the reason why Su Warong left Qian Yuman. Enfanur clearly explained the reason why Su Warong left her in the first place and the situation after leaving her. He also asked Qian Yuman not to blame him, but there was nothing he could do about missing him. He was also a victim of politics. Children of politicians like them have a lot of helplessness and a lot of fates that they have to obey. The purpose of what she said was not to get Qian Yuman to divorce and get back together with Su Warong. I just want to make the whole story clear, so that Qian Yuman won't misunderstand Su Warong, and let Qian Yuman know the pain in Su Warong's heart, and let Qian Yuman know about the entanglement between them. As for Qian Yuman's choice, she will not interfere or publish it how to comment. She simply stated things clearly, that's all. After Enfanur said these words, he left. When he left, he also took away Su Warong, who was drunk and unconscious on the ground. After hearing this, Qian Yuman was also in a trance. She also didn't expect that there were so many unspeakable secrets in it. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 363. Chapter 363 The Scheming Grandma Tang. Chapter 363 The Scheming Grandma Tang. She thought the senior was eating from the bowl and looking at the pot, but it turned out that he only had her in his heart from beginning to end. It's a pity that fate played tricks on them. They failed to see each other's hearts clearly and were separated by fate. Thinking of Su Warong's painful and sad look, she felt very sad about her senior's situation. In addition to feeling sorry for him, she didn't know how to view their situation. Clearly knowing Su Warong's mentality made Qian Yuman more aware of her feelings for Tang Yuj. She already had a place for him in her heart. Even though she knew the senior's difficulties, she had no intention of returning to him. At the same time, she also realized that her feelings for Su Warong were not that deep, otherwise she would not have the same mentality after hearing Anfanus' explanation. I am very open-minded about the two of them not being able to be together, but I just want to feel melancholy and sigh occasionally. Looking at Su Warong's painful appearance, he suddenly felt a little heartless. Su Warong was in pain, but she lived a happy life. Sure enough, the person who lets go first will always have an easier time than the person who puts it down last. The person who still loves you will always suffer more than the person who let go first. Qian Yuman wandered outside for a while before going to the Tang family to report. As a result, Qian Yuman was caught by Grandma Tang, who was smiling ambiguously as soon as she arrived at Tang's house. "Teacher Mei is here to see my little Yuer, right?" Grandma Tang's wise eyes kept staring at Qian Yuman, making her feel embarrassed. "Grandma Tang, what are you talking about? I am tutoring Xingai today, and it is definitely not what you think." Before Qian Yuman came, she was afraid of encountering Grandma Tang's gossip. Grandma Tang acted like, "I understand, you don't need to explain." Even looking at the delicious food she brought in her hand, she started to want to eat. "Dessert. Kindness. What flavor?" "Pineapple cake, one-bite cake, butterfly cake," Qian Yuman answered honestly. Grandma Tang's eyes lit up instantly, and before Qian Yuman could react, she reached out and snatched the snack from her hand. "Teacher Mei is so kind. Knowing that Grandma likes to eat, she specially prepared so many delicious foods for me, a lonely old man." "Not bad, not bad," Grandma Tang said as she opened it and stuffed the delicious food into her mouth. Yeah, it's so delicious," Grandma Tang said with a look of enjoyment, and her taste buds were once again greatly enjoyed. The corners of Qian Yuman's mouth twitched slightly. She didn't expect that Grandma Tang would directly grab the food. She never expected it. If she had known this, she would have hidden the snacks. Mr. Tang was still upstairs waiting for her to bring him food. Grandma Tang saw Qian Yuman's sad eyes, coughed slightly, took out a plate and returned some to her, 3 of each kind, no more. Qian Yuman accepted it happily, at least there was still some left. Qian Yuman was about to go upstairs with the food, but she was stopped by Grandma Tang. "Teacher Mei, come here for a moment." Qian Yuman walked back in confusion. "Grandma Tang, what's the matter? You'd better go up later. I'm afraid you might feel uncomfortable if you go up to see it." "Huh? Uncomfortable?" Grandma Tang sighed slowly while eating the pineapple cake. "Yes. Recently I have been thinking about changing a wife for Xiao Yuer. It just so happened that my sister's granddaughter came back to China during the summer vacation and came to the Tang family to play. She misses me so much that my cousin's granddaughter, who is as beautiful as a flower, is the most beautiful girl in the country. She has liked Xiao Yuer since she was a child. She knows he was injured and kept running over to see him. If you really want to be with Xiao Yuer, you must work hard and not be taken away." End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 364. Chapter 364, The Love Rival Cousin 1. Chapter 364, The Love Rival Cousin 1. Qian Yuman's eyes suddenly lit up. Grandma Tang meant that there was a mistress upstairs, and she had been coveting her husband for a long time. Like flowers and jade, how beautiful can it be to captivate a country? Qian Yuman didn't believe it. The other party could throw her off a few blocks, and he could be so beautiful that he could her husband away from her. Grandma Tang's eyes looked at Qian Yuman with a hint of smile, and she happily buried her head in eating snacks. Qian Yuman slowly went upstairs with snacks, and a young girl came face to face. She was Tang Xinglu, the only daughter of the younger generation of the Tang family. Because Qi Lili almost had a miscarriage, she was rushed to the ladies' college for education. Recently, because of the summer vacation, Tang Xinglu, who had been away for more than a month, also returned home. Qian Yuman likes Tang Xinglu and has no good impression of the sister-in-law at all. This girl is unruly and willful, and has the bad habits of a wealthy lady. She even hit her before, but luckily she avoided her. Later, she and Lili punished her, and then she calmed down. Tang Xinglu caught sight of Qian Yuman, suddenly blocked her way, and glanced at the plate in her hand. "Who are you? I don't think I've seen you before." Tang Xinglu's attitude was still arrogant, looking at her with her chin raised. It seems that she didn't learn anything during the time she went to the ladies' school. When Qian Yuman came to be Tang Xingai's tutor, Tang Xinglu had already been sent to study, so this was the first time she appeared in front of her as Teacher Mei, so Tang Xinglu naturally didn't recognize her. "I am Tang Xingai's tutor, Teacher Mei. Who are you?" Tang Xinglu frowned and then began to look at her seriously. "So you are Teacher Mei?" Tang Xinglu snorted coldly and reached out to pull off the mask on her face. Fortunately, Qian Yuman was always on guard and took a quick step back to cover her face. "What are you doing? Out of nowhere, you pulled off my mask as soon as we met. Why don't you let people see it? I heard that you wear a mask every time you come to my house. I don't believe that there is something wrong with your face. You are so sneaky that you dare not show your true face to others. You must have evil intentions." Tang Xinglu stretched out her hand to continue. Qian Yuman frowned and dodged nimbly when the mask on her face was pulled. "You don't judge a gentleman with a villain's heart. I just need to cover up because I'm ugly. If you don't mind seeing my pockmarked and face, I don't mind either. I just have to look at it. I won't show it to you." Seeing that she failed, Tang Xinglu stamped her feet angrily and almost got on her shoulders. "Qian Yuman also has a headache. Do you want to run around her?" Unexpectedly, it was summer vacation and Tang Xinglu was back. It would be difficult for her to sneak in without incident, because she had to risk having her identity revealed by Tang Xinglu at all times. Lili's matter is about to be settled. She and Tang Yuj have discussed it. In another week, she will officially meet the Tang family elders as his wife, but no problems can arise during this period. If the Tang family knew that their tutor, Teacher Mei, was Tang Yuz's wife, they would definitely make a lot of wild guesses. Just when Qian Yuman was trying to figure out how to solve the big trouble, her little angel Tang Xingai appeared. Tang Xingai saw Qian Yuman and her sister entangled, and immediately ran over and stood in front of her. "Sister, what are you doing? Are you bullying my teacher?" Tang Xin cursed in a stern tone. He knew clearly that the person behind him was Teacher Qian. Teacher Qian, who was having an affair with his eldest brother, was also the sister of his second brother's sister, so naturally he helped hide it together. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 365. Chapter 365 The Love Rival Cousin 2. Chapter 365 The Love Rival Cousin 2. Tang Xinglu was furious, stamping her feet with a look of displeasure on her face, pointing at Qian Yuman and shouting. "Third brother, don't you think this person is evil?" Tang Xinglu pointed at Qian Yuman and said. "There must be something wrong with wearing a mask all the time and refusing to show your true colors." Tang Xingai angrily scolded his sister. "There's no problem, no problem. Did you go to a ladies' school and learn to be more unruly? If you continue to make things difficult for my teacher, I will tell mom what you are doing. I have seen the teacher's appearance. For this reason, I have nightmares every day and can't eat my favorite food," so I asked my teacher to wear a mask and not come out to scare me. Don't you know curiosity kills cats? Go back to your room and rest. Qian Yuman was behind Tang Xingai, and the corner of his mouth twitched. Did this guy deliberately find a way to scold her? He is so ugly that he has nightmares, and he is so ugly that it makes people unable to eat. I'm so angry. Tang Xingla glared at her brother angrily, still wary of what he said. Before leaving, she glared at Qian Yuman fiercely. Tang Xingai finally got his sister away. He turned around to claim credit from Qian Yuman, but saw Qian Yuman angrily putting her hands on her hips and glaring at him like a Rakshasa. You have nightmares and you can't eat, right? Qian Yuman squeezed her fingers together, which made Tang Xingai's back feel cold. Teacher, I know I was wrong. Go and see my brother quickly. After Tang Xingai finished speaking, he ran away and disappeared from sight. Qian Yuman burst into laughter and looked at the snack in her hand. Fortunately, she didn't spill it. She walked briskly towards Tang Yu's room. Before she reached his room, she heard Tang Yu's angry voice. Cousin, get out quickly, I really need to rest. Cousin, it's hard to rest all day long. Can Ching Ching help you get out of bed and have a rest? A very soft voice sounded. The voice was gentle and sweet, which made people feel happy. I don't want to get out of bed. Get out of my room. I've told you hundreds of times, why don't you listen? Tang Yuj almost roared, feeling like he would collapse at any time. Qian Yuman's eyes darkened when he heard the brief conversation. There must be the cousin in the room who Grandma Tang said is the shy flower, Shen Yuloyan, and her voice sounds like a little bitch. The point is, Tang Yuj was so helpless that he almost broke down and yelled. This was a rare situation. Qian Yuman thought that her love rival would be easy to get rid of at first, but now she seems to have underestimated him. Qi Yuqing has just been taken away, and now a cousin has arrived. Tang Yu's attitude was actually not the same as that towards Qi Yuqing. He coldly rejected her thousands of miles away, but he was still helpless and collapsed for the first time. It's amazing. Impressive. This love rival is a bit powerful. Qian Yuman looked at her current clothes and saw that there was nothing wrong with her. She also looked at the snacks in her hand and saw that there was nothing wrong with them either. She raised her head and chest, facing the enemy head-on. She was so curious about how beautiful the girl was that Tang Yuj was reluctant to kick her out. Qian Yuman walked over and saw the door of the room wide open, and conversations between men and women could be heard inside from time to time. Qian Yuman knocked on the door gently and spoke in a low voice on purpose. Young Master Tang, Mrs. Tang asked me to bring you some snacks. Qian Yuman's eyes almost popped out of his head, especially when he saw the men and women in the room swallowing everything he said. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 366. Chapter 366, The Love Rival Cousin 3. Chapter 366, The Love Rival Cousin 3. Who can tell her what's going on? Is she dreaming? In the room, on the big soft bed, besides Tang Yuj, there was a woman sitting on the edge of the bed. She said she was a woman, but she believed the other person was a man. Kongwu has a powerful and muscular body, standing over 1.7 meters tall, and his muscles are frighteningly large. His body is at least 3 times the size of Qian Yuman. That face is even more amazing. The square face exudes a strong masculinity, and there is a short beard at the corner of the mouth. This woman definitely has excess male hormones. Even though she was ugly, she actually still wore makeup. Her face was painted as white as snow, her lips were painted a rose pink, and her eyeshadow was also painted with rose pink to match her lips. Her eyebrows were trimmed so thin that it was so thin that she even doubted that she had put on makeup. If thin eyebrows appear on Jian Yuman's face, they will look weak and delicate. If they appear on a square face, they are dispensable. The taste in clothes is even less flattering. Ladies' clothing, definitely ladies' clothing, but in plus sizes. The pink and tender lace skirt is very short, just below the buttocks, revealing two thick thighs. Jian Yuman originally thought about her lines and how to drive away her new love rival. When she saw her so-called love rival, she couldn't say a word and was even a little frightened. It's not that she was discriminating against the other person's ugliness, it was just that the person who actually appeared in front of the sweet Oriole-like voice she heard just now was better than Ruhua, and the gap was really huge. At this moment, Tang Yuj was holding onto the quilt pitifully to cover his body, while his cousin was trying hard to pull him out of the quilt, trying to dig him out of the bed. Ha ha ha, you're in the wrong place, please continue. Jian Yuman smiled awkwardly and kindly helped them close the door. The two people in the room were stunned for a few seconds. Fang Qingguo turned to Tang Yuj with a smile on his face. Cousin, just come down. Tang Yuj, on the other hand, looked at his wife who left with resentment. Wife, you are still not a human being. Can't you see that your husband and I are being treated inhumanely? Don't you know how to save me? Jian Yuman, who exited the room, felt excited all over, stretched out her hands to rub the goosebumps on her body, and murmured to herself. Scared to death, scared to death. One hand gently caressed the lower abdomen. Poor little baby, you saw such a terrifying thing before you were born. I feel so wrong to you. Jian Yuman walked quickly to Tang Xingai's study, but she still didn't want to disturb them. After seeing Tang Yuz's cousin, Jian Yuman thought she had lost. She thought she couldn't compete with his cousin. What a disastrous failure. Poor Tang Yuz, the injuries on his body have not fully healed, and he has been severely hit physically and mentally. Jump out of bed quickly and run out quickly. Fang Qingguo screamed and shouted when he saw his cousin running away. Cousin, please run slower, your injury is not healed yet. You are going too fast. Tang Yuz ran quickly, still thinking in his heart. If he doesn't run, he is a fool. If he continues, he will go crazy. Cousin. If you stay away from your cousin, it will be the most hurtful gift to your cousin. My wife has no conscience. When she saw something happen to my husband, she didn't know how to come to rescue her, so she just ran away and waited to find her to see how he would deal with her. Tang Yuz ran for a while, looking for Jian Yuman all over the house, and finally found Jian Yuman in Tang Xingai's study, who was teaching Tang Xingai. The snacks prepared for him were being eaten by his younger brother. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 367. Chapter 367 The Love Rival Cousin 4. Chapter 367 The Love Rival Cousin 4. Tang Xingai Tang Yuz gritted his teeth and rushed over, snatching the snacks from his hand and the bite of cake that had not yet reached his mouth. A bite of cake snatched from the ground's hand, quickly stuffed into his mouth. It's delicious, and he loves his wife's cooking more and more. Tang Xingai watched helplessly as his elder brother snatched away all the delicious food, and immediately pretended to be pitiful towards Jian Yuman, asking him to eat too, and he only ate one butterfly cake. Jian Yuman looked at little brother Tang helplessly. She had no choice. These things were originally prepared for Tang Yuz, but Grandma Tang took away most of them, and now only a little is left. Dong dong dong, a burst of violent footsteps came. Tang Yuz paused while eating the snack, put down the snack in his hand, and immediately turned around and hid behind little brother Tang. Cousin, a very pleasant voice came. Jian Yuman would have definitely enjoyed hearing this voice before meeting Fang Qingguo, and would not have felt the slightest bit uncomfortable. After meeting Fang Qingguo, she heard the voice that caused goosebumps all over her body, and she couldn't help but tremble. Seeing Tang Yuj hiding, Qian Yuman opened his mouth and smiled heartlessly. Fang Qingguo appeared in the study and actually filled up the door frame of the study, making it impossible to see whoever was standing behind him. Her eyes quickly swept across the room and she walked in slowly. "Xingai, where is your elder brother?" She touched the back of her head in confusion. She clearly saw him entering Xingai's study, but why didn't she see anyone? "Did you leave?" Tang Xingai straightened his body and helped his brother block Fang Qingguo's sight. "Cousin, why do you want my elder brother to come to my place?" Fang Qingguo frowned pitifully, and the expression on his face suddenly became even more awkward. Qian Yuman closed her eyes sadly. It was so irritating to her eyes. It was so irritating. Fang Qingguo saw the snacks on the table and immediately recognized them as the snacks Qian Yuman had just held in his hand. He happily walked over and picked up the butterfly cake and ate it happily. After eating one piece, I ate the second piece and finished the butterfly cake directly. Tang Yuj, who was hiding behind Tang Xingai, felt his heart bleed. It was a snack prepared by his wife for him, and he only took one bite. Fang Qingguo ate so happily that his mouth was stained with powder. He pointed to the food on the plate and asked Qian Yuman, "Where did you buy this? It's delicious. I'm buying some for this lady." Qian Yuman is still trying to get used to Fang Qingguo's overwhelming beauty. "I did this." When Fang Qingguo heard this, his eyes lit up. He stretched out his hand to hold Qian Yuman with a pleading look in his eyes. "It's really delicious. This little bit is not enough for me to eat. You can make it for me now." Qian Yuman was in a trance for a while, and a barrage opened in her mind. "Miss Cousin, please don't look like this at me, okay? As long as you don't face me, I'll do whatever you say. Forget about snacks, I'll make a cake for you." Tang Xingai heard his cousin's proposal and immediately agreed happily. Okay, if the teacher does it, I won't enjoy it either." Qian Yuman looked at Fang Qingguo's pleading eyes, Tang Xingai's expectant eyes, and Tang Yuzhi's plaintive eyes hiding behind Tang Xingai. They all looked at her, and she could only nod. This group of foodies, if she refuses their entreaties, she will be a heinous villain. Alright. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 368. Chapter 368, Tear the Apart 1. Chapter 368, Tear the Apart 1. Long live, a cheer rang out, and Fang Qingguo took Qian Yuman's strong hand and ran outside. Tang Xingai also happily joined in the fun. Tang Yuj still looked at the plate that had been eaten sadly. It was okay. He would eat it after a while, and he would eat it after a while. Tang Yuj could only comfort himself in this way. Thinking of his wife going to the kitchen to make snacks, should he go? Thinking of Fang Qingguo again, he might as well hide in the guest room and rest. Wait for my wife to make snacks, and then go out to find food. Qian Yuman was pulled to the kitchen and told a bunch of snacks she wanted to eat. Grandma Tang, a big foodie, also walked in and told a bunch of snacks she wanted to eat. "Grandma Tang, please stop fighting with Ching Ching. I want to eat walnut cake, pineapple cake, osmanthus cake, egg yolk pie, and chicken cake." Grandma Tang had a serious face and flatly refused. "You little girl, Grandma, I am the elder. If you want to listen to me, I want to eat matcha cupcake, cheesecake, and egg yolk cake." "But Grandma, she only has one pair of hands, so she can't do so much." "So don't do all the things you signed up for." Grandma Tang stretched out her hand and patted Fang Qingguo's muscles vigorously, and said righteously, "Grandma is also thinking about you. You look at the fat all over your body and you don't know how to lose weight. If you eat so much, you might become a fat person." Fang Qingguo looked down at the muscles on his body and said stupidly, "It's not because you asked me to lose weight, but all the fat turned into muscles." It's impossible to lose weight even if I want to. The two of them had been arguing for a long time over who should cook the delicious food. Jianyuman had already silently washed her hands and put on her apron. She might as well have done them all. Otherwise, I don't know how long the argument will last depending on how the two foodies don't want to give in. Grandma Tang was very satisfied with being able to eat the snacks she wanted to eat, so she went to rest. Tang Xingai was also rushed to do exercises by Jianyuman. Only Fang Qingguo watched Jianyuman make snacks and dozed off on the dining table while waiting. Without Fang Qingguo harassing her, Jianyuman made snacks faster. At this moment, another guest was welcomed at the door of the Tang family. Qi Yuqing held a bouquet in her hand and a food box in her right hand. Inside was the tonic soup she carefully prepared for Tang Yuj. Sister Yuqing Tang Xinglu greeted Qi Yuqing at the door with a sweet smile. Xinglu, long time no see. Qi Yuqing smiled sweetly. Tang Xinglu shook Qi Yuqing's hand enthusiastically, the expression on her face suddenly changed, and she gritted her teeth. Sister Yuqing, that teacher Mei is here today. Qi Yuqing's expression froze for a moment, and she turned to look at Tang Xinglu. Really? I even fought against her. There is something really wrong with this person. It might really be Qi Lilei. I once tried to take the mask from her face, but she refused to let me take it. Xingai actually defended her. Tang Xinglu was very dissatisfied. Qi Yuqing also said angrily. I just said that teacher Mei has a ghost. I have always suspected that she might be Qi Lilei. I didn't expect that after I showed my affection to brother Yu last time, she still dared to come to the Tang family. Aren't you afraid that I would expose her? Sister Yuqing, we must not let Qi Lile succeed. We need to take a long-term approach to this matter and we must pull out Qi Lile's vixen tail. Tang Xinglu frowned, a little confused. Sister Yuqing, there is something strange. Qi Lilei had a miscarriage a few days ago, and she is still in confinement. Why did she come to my house? She doesn't look weak at all. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 369. Chapter 369 Tear the Apart 2. Chapter 369 Tear the Apart 2. Sister Yuqing, there is something strange. Qi Lilei had a miscarriage a few days ago, and she is still in confinement. Why did she come to my house? She doesn't look weak at all. Qi Yuqing frowned and thought, and couldn't figure out what was unreasonable for a while. If teacher Mei is really Qi Lilei, she should not appear here at this time. If it were Qi Lilei, things would be even more difficult. Recently, people in the Tang family have become very fond of Qi Lilei. Even though she had a miscarriage, the people in the Tang family happily accepted the existence of their future granddaughter-in-law Qi Lilei. It wasn't enough to have Tang Feishan, the best in the Tang family, as her husband. Why did she seduce Tang Yuj secretly without fear of being discovered? If this miscarriage was not an accident, but she did it on purpose, did she want to abandon Tang Feishan and be with Tang Yuj? It's ridiculous. Qi Lilei is too naive. Does she think that the Tang family can accept a woman messing around between their two brothers? Her behavior will only make the Tang family unable to tolerate Qi Lilei's existence. Qi Yuqing has countless confusing places in her heart, but she doesn't know where they are. Her goal is very simple, which is to break up Tang Yuj and teacher Mei, expose teacher Mei's true face, and let the Tang family know Qi Lilei's behavior. Sister Yuqing, teacher Mei is in the kitchen now, let's go meet her, Tang Xinglu suggested with a smile. She wanted to expose teacher Mei's mask immediately, but Qi Yuqing told her not to be impulsive and wait for the right opportunity. This directly left Jianyuman with no room for maneuver. Jianyuman, who was busy in the kitchen, had no idea that Tang Xinglu and the others were plotting, and decided to come over to trouble her. Putting the semi-finished products of 3 of the pastries into the oven, she was about to make the 4th pastry, starting with the egg yolk pie that Fang Qingguo had requested. Tang Xinglu and Qi Yuqing came to the kitchen together and saw Qian Yumen busy inside. The two exchanged looks. Tang Xinglu raised her proud chin and walked quickly to Qian Yumen. At this moment, Qian Yumen was beating egg whites with an egg beater and did not notice the arrival of Qi Yuqing and others. Tang Xinglu didn't say anything. She walked over and beat the egg whites in her hand. The half-beaten egg whites were instantly knocked to the ground. The mixing head of the egg beater in Qian Yumen's hand was still rotating, and the egg whites on the instrument followed the movements of the instrument. It spun and flew out quickly, leaving Qian Yumen and Tang Xinglu covered in egg white foam. Although Qian Yumen was wearing an apron, her hair and legs could not avoid getting some egg white on them. Qian Yumen raised her head in displeasure and turned off the egg beater. Originally, I just wanted to stop Qian Yumen from continuing to make snacks, but I didn't expect that she would get a lot of egg white foam all over her body. She was not wearing an apron, so she was even worse than Qian Yumen. Damn, you bitch, how could you make me covered in egg white? Don't you want to continue hanging out in my house? Tang Xinglu got mad like a shrew, pointing at Qian Yumen and yelling. Qian Yumen was extremely angry. She never thought that she was a good-tempered person, especially when faced with her sister-in-law who deliberately made things difficult for her. She picked up the knife on the table, narrowed her eyes slightly, and shot a cold look. She compared the knife in front of her, threatening and intimidating Tang Xinglu. If you point your finger at me again, believe it or not, I will chop your fingers off. Frightened by Qian Yumen's sudden rage, she immediately retracted her hand, took a step back, and continued to curse. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 370. Chapter 370, Tear the Apart 3. Chapter 370, Tear the Apart 3. Frightened by Qian Yumen's sudden rage, she immediately retracted her hand, took a step back, and continued to curse. You are too scary. A tutor actually dares to threaten me, the 4th lady of the Tang family. You don't know that if you do this, I can prevent you from continuing to live in S city. Do you know who you are facing? Do you believe it or not, it's going to be difficult for your whole family. Qian Yumen sneered and stuck the knife in his hand firmly on the chopping board. I don't know if my whole family will have a good time. I know that if you continue to be unruly, you will not have a good time now. Qian Yumen's behavior successfully made Tang Xinglu take a step back in fear. She did not expect that this teacher Mei was not easy to deal with at all. He actually raised a knife to threaten her and ignored her, the 4th daughter of the Tang family. If Tang Xinglu thinks Qian Yumen is a soft persimmon, she is too naive. Maybe Qian Yumen didn't dare to offend the powerful before, but now she has Tang Yuzhi, her 24 filial husband, behind her to teach the unruly and willful Tang Xinglu a lesson without even raising her eyelids. Seeing Tang Xinglu retreating in fear, Qian Yumen was a little amused. Children are indeed children. She can scare her just by threatening her. She really thought she would deal with her. Qi Yuqing stood in front of Tang Xinglu and lectured him angrily. You are too courageous. You dare to bully Xinglu. Get out of the Tang family immediately. Qian Yumen glanced at them coldly, turned around and took the knife off the chopping board. Qi Yuqing and Tang Xinglu took a step back in fear, obviously afraid that Qian Yumen would really go crazy against them. Qian Yumen was too lazy to pay attention to them. She still had several snacks to make. She picked up the basin on the ground again, took out 5 more eggs from the refrigerator, and beat the egg whites again. Tang Xinglu looked at her as if nothing was wrong and started making desserts again. This teacher Mei was too arrogant, he actually threatened her, and he didn't take her seriously. Tang Xinglu's chest rose and fell violently, and the more she thought about it, the angrier she became. If Teacher Mei is really Qi Lili, then things will be easy. If she really dares to fight, then directly expose her, let her family know what kind of Qi Lili is, and then drive her out of the Tang family. Tang Xinglu stepped forward quickly, and Qi Yuqing gently held her back to prevent her from going. This girl is too impulsive. She may not be able to get good results if she goes ahead like this. The effect of direct exposure would not be astonishing. Qi Lili had many excuses to explain. Tang Xinglu was so angry that she threw away Qi Yuqing's arm, picked up the broom on the side and was about to hit Qian Yuman. Qian Yuman was beating egg whites and didn't realize that Tang Xinglu was about to hit someone. Tang Xinglu raised the broom in her hand and was about to hit Qian Yuman when someone grabbed the broom in her hand. She turned around and saw a strong, muscular hand holding her broom. "Cousin Xinglu, is it really okay for you to hit my pastry chef like this?" a nice voice came. Qian Yuman immediately turned around, saw Tang Xinglu holding the broom, and immediately realized that Tang Xinglu wanted to hit her. This girl is really quite unruly, but fortunately Fang Qingguo is here. Fang Qingguo pulled Tang Xinglu's broom away with one hand, and with a slight force on his wrist, the iron rod was broken, completely broken instead of bent. Qian Yuman's eyes nearly popped out when she saw Fang Qingguo's exposed hand. Oh my god! Awesome, awesome! End of this chapter.